Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Say Report. I'm your host, Devin Decker, and welcome to the Surprise Report. It's a surprise because, first of all, 5th round of quiz trivia for the Brendan Fraser quiz of Brendan Fraser. Forgot what I've been calling it, probably because I recorded that episode a month ago. So surprise. Also surprise, that means that we have Will here. Will, say hello before we introduce Sejan.
Hello.
Also, Will, happy birthday! It's a surprise birthday recorded for your birthday. Because it's the first time an episode's dropping on your birthday.
I am honored to have my birthday in the Brendan Fraser History Month. It's nice to be in some way connected. And hey, let's think about birthdays for the trivia. Let's see what happens.
Oh, no. All right, so I guess we should also introduce my host companion, Sejan Sarowick. Sejan.
What time is it, Devin? I don't remember. What is happening? Is this before or after the episode proper? When does
This is before. This is the episode. We're in the episode right now.
Okay.
Welcome to the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, Devin doesn't always let me know when we're like in the episode. Sometimes we do entire bits and I find out he wasn't even recording.
No, this is, you told me to start, so that's the thing. So here's the deal, everybody. We do have Will here live, because as much fun as it was to throw to him at the end of every episode and essentially give you 2 episodes of the Say Report, one long and unfettered and another close to 22 minutes, long enough that you could be like, put it on in the background while watching Everybody Loves Raymond. We thought it'd be fun to have Will live. So, Will, thank you for making time because you're down under. You're about to go on holiday for a month because Australia is better than America when it comes to leave. That's the lie I'm telling myself, so don't correct it.
I'm sorry. I'm still stuck on you. I'm still stuck on that wicked sick burn on fucking Raymond there. Like when you put it on the TV but don't want to actually listen to it, put us on instead.
Oh, I was just trying to be like Judd Apatow. Will, look at that. We're podcasters of a certain age, the 3 of us. That'll be fun. We're going to remake that show someday. That's
Can I
a very...
Scott Bakula?
Yes, you're Scott, but we already did this. We already determined who each of us are. That'll be a very special episode. We'll just do a reading of a script from an episode of Men of a Certain Age. Look forward to that sometime. I don't know when. This is just something that I have... Soon, never, who knows. But the fact of the matter is...
The Say Report promise.
Because Will is about to go on vacation, he has to leave for the airport in 45 minutes. So I have put 45 minutes on the clock, and as soon as that goes off, we gotta fly away.
Burrito over there or some shit.
I heard microwave beeping, and I was very much like, Devin's just cooking dinner while we do this. Because if you don't want to pay attention to a podcast, why not microwave something in the background?
If you put on an episode of this...
all over again.
If you want to cook something...
Everybody Loves Raymond by listening to you ignoring actually recording the show. Like, where does this end eventually? Does, like, the burrito ignore you in the microwave?
I think we all become the crab, right? Everything begins and ends with crab. So, welcome...
And the microwave doesn't cook your burrito. It's still frozen in the middle because it ignored you.
No.
So, welcome...
It really is the Twilight Zone.
So, welcome to the Surprise Report, the final episode of our Season 6 Brendan Fraser History Month. And let's get the quiz out of the way, and then if there's some time left over, Will, you can share your thoughts about the movie this week, which was Escape from Planet Earth. Also, while we're doing the quiz, if you haven't seen the movie yet, you could throw it on. It's on Netflix in America. I don't know about Australia.
It's also much longer than 45 minutes, so you're not going to watch the entire thing if you're doing both at the same time. Just putting that out there.
You can put it on 1.5 speed, right? I think that might work out.
No, he's doing his math terribly wrong.
2.
That's not the point. Let's do it.
2 points speed. All right, Will. So, as our Quizmaster General, you officially have the floor. Bring these people up to speed and tell us what we're doing today.
All right, so we have had some serious quizzing over the last month. That's the only way to put it. And we came to a point where it was real close and real tight, so we couldn't just leave it hanging in the air. We had to do a deciding round to give everyone a chance to, quiz again.
Yeah, and I protest the fact that we had to take so much time in between because we've basically reset. What we learned over the last 4 weeks is that if I'm given enough time in a quiz, I start getting good. I start revving up. And I was getting real good at the end there. And then we restarted the whole damn thing. And so now I'm back to 0.
Right. I mean, I had 12 points. Sejan had 11.5 points. And based on the Say charter, it needs to be at least a 1-point difference to determine a champion. So we have to do a final finale to figure out who's winning. And Sejan, maybe you're wrong. Maybe all of this time, everything we've gleaned from Brendan Fraser over these past 4 weeks will help you. Maybe there'll be a brain candy question.
He just asked about birthdays, man. We're screwed. I'm screwed.
Well, I'm not.
There is
hopefully.
a lot of points available. There is a potential for 25 points.
Oh my God.
There aren't 25 questions, but there's a potential for 25 points.
But one of
for
them
the right person.
Oh,
yeah, there was an essay question at the end. I'll just sit here silently for 20 minutes while you write essays. It's going to be great podcasting.
All righty. I have my pen and paper.
As always, pens and paper.
Yes.
Bring it.
Good. All right, the BF tiebreaker trivia.
This is Will stalling for time because he didn't have the questions up.
You're my BF.
No, I've got it right here. It says I would send you a screenshot, but that would kind of give you the answers, so that'd be pointless.
Damn.
All right, question number 1. What do Ozzy Osbourne, Julianne Moore, Lil Baby, Amanda Seyfried, and Brendan Fraser all have in common?
Wow. There we go. I like that.
Sejan seems less excited.
I think I know it, but now I feel like you've laid a really terrible seed in my brain that's not... The earworm that you put in my head at the beginning of this episode is now probably going to be the thing that screws me.
Welcome to the trivia.
It's trivia of the mind.
All right, question number 2. What date is Brendan Fraser's birthday?
Oh, sweet. Thanks, Internet. Really,
it's such a useful tool.
Who I have to thank are those alternate universe versions of us who do the Brendan Fraser Cinematic Universe podcast, because their universe's distinction is based on Brendan Fraser's birthday.
Okay, I think I answered it.
I wonder if Rachel McAdams used the same thing. Like, is it based on Doctor Strange's birthday in Multiverse of Madness? Is that why it's 616? He seems like he's a whatever zodiac sign was born on June 16th.
Evan, why are you stalling here? What is going on?
I'm having fun. I'm glad that Will's here. There's a different energy. I got my big crazy energy drink.
No, not a blue drink again or something?
Yeah. Oh, they've made it perfect. Yeah, big cool. Shout out to the guys at my local Dunkin' Donuts who will finally understand how to make this drink. Because I asked for it without ice a week ago, and they just used 1 can. But the guy today, I'm not going to shout out his name so you can't know because a bunch of men were working at the Dunkin' Donuts. He opened up a 2nd can to make sure that it was filled to the brim. So I got 1.5 cans of Monster plus blue raspberry syrup. Fired.
Nice.
I think he's going to finish the other can of Monster. If I were him, that's what I would do.
Oh, definitely. We used to make a lot of vodka Red Bulls, and you put in some Red Bull, and the rest of the can disappears somewhere.
Man, now I think about when I used to work at Dunkin' Donuts and make myself giant 3-decker bagel sandwiches.
If you're not working at Dunkin' Donuts and making a 3-layer sandwich of the breakfast stuff, you're doing it wrong. Okay, Will, let's go to 3.
Okay, hey, cool. Question number 3. It's a fill-in-the-blank question.
Oh, God.
A book titled A Collector's Guide to Blank is dedicated to Brendan Fraser. The 2-word blank. Cars blank can be more than 1 word, Dale.
Oh, she'll be so happy for that.
Wait,
I know what it is.
Give me the title again. A collector's guide to
a
blank.
collector's guide to blank. It's something he is incredibly passionate about.
Oh, I hope I'm right, but now I'm nervous.
Okay. Oh, okay. I've got it. I don't have this one right at all, but I'm taking a swing.
That's the way to do it. All right, question number 4. Which unusual co-star from George of the Jungle and Looney Tunes Back in Action was reportedly very excited to see Brendan on stage and on set again, and they have a strong bond until this day?
Yes! Wow. I hope I got into your Cabeza 2 siege and it wasn't just Will.
I'm taking this seriously as I did the last few.
There we go. There you go.
I'm trying to set that unsure because I wasn't actually sure if I was taking it seriously before or not.
I want to know where the extra 21 points are going to lie.
Oh, just you wait, sir. Just you wait. All right, question number 5, if we are ready.
Yep.
Which iconic and long-running musical role has Brendan tried to be cast in, both film and stage, but has never been successful?
Whoa.
It's an Andrew Lloyd Webber musical. I will give you that hint.
Oh.
Oh, well, that hopefully, if I know what that means. Ooh. What was that? What was I watching that had that reference? I feel like I've been watching too many things lately. All my references are getting jangled up in my brain.
Well, right now, for me, if I think of a movie that had a weird reference in it, all I keep going back to is Chip and Dale, so...
That's fair. No, it was something else. They were, like, doing Starlight... Oh, it was Furry Vengeance.
Yeah. Oh, man, it's Andrew Lloyd Webber, though.
All roads lead to Brendan. All right. Your final question and the chance for 20 points.
Jesus.
I want you both to write down 10 Brendan Fraser movies or TV shows. If the other person also writes down that show, you do not get a point for it.
Jesus. Okay.
If all 10 are unique, you will get double points.
Okay. I see where the potential is. Okay.
This is something else. That's what this is. What?
I would like you to continue to randomly talk and not show you're working because that will give away things.
No, yeah.
Rather just have dead air.
Well, so I'm gonna, I'm just gonna talk a little bit about my tactic here because now the question becomes: is it better to try and think of a bunch of unique stuff, right? Which we would both do. So it's a prisoner's dilemma.
Yeah,
do we assume that the other person is gonna go out and try and save themselves, or are we gonna work together here to maybe like put together a list and try to not put one on that we know the other one might put on? And vice versa, because what I could do is I could put all the popular stuff. Yeah, I could like negate the crap out of everything that he writes down if I wanted to.
This is why. This is fucking why you're the guy. Anybody else?
I mean, I think it's going to have to be a tactic. It's going to have to be a combined tactic of me just being, first of all, can I name 10 things?
Oh, I mean, if you can't name 10 things, then we've been wasting our time the last 6 months.
No. Yeah. But you said uncredited counts, though, right? Like uncredited.
Well, now you fucking asshole.
No, he said earlier that he just shows up in, right? Like you clarified that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, if he
losing.
No, he's. Oh man, I
even if you want to do stuff that hasn't come out yet, there's a few.
Oh, that.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Okay.
There are 77.
Yes, there are 77. That is.
But the doubling of points thing also becomes an issue when there's only 2 of us, because if one of our lists is all unique, that means the other one has to be as well. So that means we both get double points.
That's the thing. You gotta.
So, but it would render the whole thing useless because we.
Yep, that's it. You bring up a very good point there, Sejan.
So if they're completely unique, doubling points doesn't fucking matter. In fact, we want a couple to not be.
Yeah, it truly and honestly is a prisoner's dilemma.
Okay. Wait a minute.
I can write down one more movie.
So now I got it. Well, okay.
If we could mind meld Siegen
let's drift this
and
bitch.
share, are we drift compatible?
Do I think that I wrote down at least one movie that you wrote down? Yes.
Okay. That tells me everything I needed to know about the 10th movie I needed to write down.
I've enjoyed this. It's interesting to see how you guys try and game the system, but then also realize the system is a mess anyway. So
you
know what? I am not 100% on the title of that movie, so I am going to remove it and add this film.
Oh.
Okay.
Because I liked that movie.
Beyond the Veil of the Mist?
No.
Okay. I think I'm writing down my 10th one, Devin. What are you on?
I have written down my 10, yeah.
And booyah, I'm done.
Oh my God, Will, you son of a bitch.
Welcome to trivia.
I'd like to answer first on the first one.
All right, question 1. We go back to what do Ozzy Osbourne, Julianne Moore, Lil Baby, Amanda Seyfried, and Brendan Fraser all have in common?
Who are 5 people that have never been in my kitchen?
Oh, you see, you and I both have the same kind of taskmastery approach to the first couple of questions. I really approve of this.
I actually wrote down December birthdays.
Or deny.
Ozzy Osbourne's been in my kitchen. That was a reference to Cheers.
Fuck me. I wrote down birthdays as well. Devin wrote down December birthdays, though, so I don't know what we want to do with that.
You wrote down they all have birthdays?
No, they have the same birthday, dumbass.
All these guys have birthdays.
No, I wrote down that they all have the same birthday. I mean, it's only 5 people. It's actually not that weird.
In my defense, I wrote December birthdays, 12/13. So, it depends on what the answer to number 2 is, because if that's the date...
Or if he just started counting. 12, 13,
is he right? I guess we would have to count that as part of the right, though, because you did write it down as part of the answer.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what do we have answers to question 12?
Well, I wrote December 13th. But it's December 3rd! I fucked myself!
Okay.
What did you write, Keegan?
For the birthday?
Yeah.
I wrote the same as Ozzy Osbourne and made the same as Julianne Moore.
It's December 3rd. Why did I write December 13th twice? It's December 3rd.
It's a very good question, Devin.
It is
December 3rd.
Afton Smith is 1 year older than him. That's probably
birthday, don't they?
Yeah, that's probably what the icebreaker was that led to their eventual marriage was, hey, so when's your birthday? December 3rd.
Also why she wasn't included in the first list.
Sorry, I just smacked my microphone because I'm just so mad at myself because it was something I fucking knew and I just lost 2 points to Siegen.
Given Siegen a half a point for the second one because it was correct.
Technically correct.
Not correct.
Jesus, that means that Siegen is 2 points ahead of me.
No, I think only 1 point ahead.
No, 1 point ahead.
1 point ahead, yeah. So you're at 13, I'm at 12. Oh, God.
Don't worry, Dev. It's all downhill from here.
So a book entitled A Collector's Guide to Blank is dedicated to Brendan Fraser. What is the blank?
I shall go first. Clearly, A Collector's Guide to Mummies and Airplanes.
I wrote A Collected Guide of Jules Verne. Hoping that your mother was a Vernian.
They're both beautiful answers. The actual correct answer, I'm afraid, is instant cameras.
Cameras.
He loves his Polaroids.
Oh, man.
I did not know this. So these are the things that you come to. I can't believe I wrote down the wrong date.
That's going to haunt you for the rest of the day.
It's going to hurt.
I've been telling everybody what his birthday is.
But everyone's going to be sending in birthday cards a week late because of you.
Why haven't I gotten any birthday cards?
Like no one likes me anymore. It's only the 13th comes around. He's inundated with cards. All right, question 4. Which unusual co-star from George of the Jungle and Looney Tunes back in action was reportedly excited to see Brendan on set again and has a strong bond with him to this day?
The monkey.
The monkey. Yeah, I thought I was like the animals, but then I remembered that there was a lot of animals in both. So I wrote down the toucan. To be fair, I did not write down the monkey, but now that you say the monkey, I now remember the monkey in both, and it pisses me off. I didn't think of the damn monkey. It wasn't Marcel, was it?
I think it was Marcel. Is that a capuchin? Is that the breed of monkey that it is?
I thought it was a spider monkey or like a. Anyway, it's neither of those things, though. It's actually Ty the elephant.
Oh shit!
Shit!
He was very excited
about the damn monkey.
To see him.
That's awesome.
Recognize him.
That's wonderful. There are so many monkeys in both movies, though. Steve Martin becomes a monkey.
They didn't care. Monkeys don't care.
Yeah, monkeys don't care. That's a good point.
Ken Jeong taught us
elephants never forget. It's the whole thing.
Fuck you, Will, for that wonderful thing.
They do. I don't know if it's really true, but it's a long-standing belief. So
yeah, well, I mean, we've just proven it, haven't we?
True, we have proved that. Well, they never forget Brendan Fraser. Maybe that's the full quote.
Elephants never forget. ... Those 3 dots. Brendan Fraser.
Brendan Fraser. I think all 3 dots are Brendan Fraser, and I will remember that now forever. Every time I put 3 dots, I'll be like, oh, cool, Brendan.
I like to believe that the first dot is Brendan Fraser, the second dot is Steve Buscemi, and the third dot is Adam Sandler.
Nice. I thought it was going to be a number movie. No, but...
All right, number 5. This is my only chance here for points.
You have 0 points so far, Devin, which is going really well. Which iconic and long-running musical role has Brendan tried to be cast in both film and stage, but has never been successful? Devin, you go for it.
The Phantom of the Opera is here. That's my answer.
I put Jesus Christ from Jesus Christ Superstar.
Devin levels up.
Woohoo!
As we go. It is 1 point to Devin with Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, that just seemed too easy.
But
they did do the movie a few years ago with Gerard and all that. Yeah, man.
Yeah, it made sense because he's talked about how his portrayal of Cliff in Doom Patrol is inspired by his love of the Phantom of the Opera. That's his disfigurement.
If I remember much about Phantom of the Opera, he does walk around just saying "fuck" a lot, right?
Yeah, I mean it's in the second act. You don't see it in the commercial.
Christine, seriously.
Fuck Christine! Look at this fucking chandelier.
Fuck those guys! Kill them all.
I'm on a fucking catwalk. I'm not a cat. I'm a phantom.
I'm down here in the fucking sewers.
I can't play the fucking organ.
Yeah,
Oh,
pretty sure Brian.
All right,
Anyway, sorry, yeah.
It's 13 points all, which is incredible.
Fuck.
As we go into it all comes down to can you put the name?
This is such a fucked.
Couldn't have gone better.
I'm sorry. Yeah, we could not have planned this. This is awesome. Anyway, so here we go.
We could have planned this. We didn't, but we could have.
We did. I'm glad we didn't.
Okay.
All right, let's see if you can both get 20 points. Let's do it. Legion to go first.
So I, right off the bat, put The Mummy.
I did not write The Mummy.
Boom. Okay. I went popular. I went popular first, Dev. I'm not gonna lie.
That's fine.
Second one I put Bedazzled.
I did not put Bedazzled.
Okay. Then things went weird.
All right. The first one I put was Trust.
Did not put Trust.
Okay. And then I followed that up with a little bit of Inkheart action.
Did not put Inkheart.
Okay, this is going well so far. You guys are killing it. Legion, back to you for 2.
Oh God, this is gonna be the death. I guarantee it. I put Brain Candy.
I did not put Brain Candy.
The fact we've even gotten this far, I am very proud of us.
Yeah.
Are you doing another one, or are we gonna trade off now?
I will do another one.
Okay.
I'm nervous too. I don't want to be the one to break the seal on this, but I put Son-in-Law.
I did not put Son-in-Law.
Okay.
So for the third one, I wrote The Scout.
I didn't put the Scout. Fuck.
And then I went with this. If I'm breaking the seal here, I'm okay with it. Sinbad Beyond the Veil of the Mists.
I didn't put Sinbad, my brother.
All right.
Holy shit.
Oh, fuck. I'm just going to go in the order that I wrote them.
That's what I've been doing.
G.I. Joe, Rise of Cobra.
I put G.I. Joe, Rise of Cobra.
There it is.
I got greedy with fucking The Mummy and then that.
All right, well, all is broken now, so we can do whatever.
Oh, goodness.
So, going down the rest of my list, I put Scrubs.
Nope.
Doom Patrol.
I put Doom Patrol.
School Ties.
No.
Encino Man.
I put Encino Man.
And Escape from Planet Earth.
And there we go. I did not write Escape from Planet Earth.
So we had three. We had three.
Yeah. My other ones.
So that's a good 7 points each.
Yeah. My other one was Now and Then, Airheads, and Still Breathing, which will be covered next year as part of Brendan Fraser History Month.
Man, I'm so mad at you, Will, because I was sitting here for a second thinking, man, there was no way this was ever going to not work out, that we got either the same amount of points or not. I was like what? But then I realized, wait, but then what we did is you made us work together to see if we could just fucking do this challenge.
He brought us together instead of tearing us apart.
I'm so mad at the way that you did that.
You know what Will did? He put together a quiz that was on theme for this week's movie, Escape from Planet Earth.
All 5 of these quizzes. All right. Thank you very much, man. This has been amazing.
So we each got 20 points. There's no grand poobah of the Brendan Fraser quiz of Brendan Fraser?
Oh, Will, do we want...
I'm fine sharing the title. I have to be honest with you. It's up to Sejan.
This is the first time I've ever gotten so close to winning. Do you understand that?
I do understand that, Sejan. That's why I said it's up to you.
I am here and I am on the precipice, and you want me to be a true sportsman about this? I think I have to be, right? In honor of the man. I cannot... I mean, I have to be.
It depends. Do you want to wish? Do you want to wish for something, or do you want to work for something?
All right. Okay. No tiebreaker. We're going down together.
I love it. I love that we're going down together. It feels so... It was so much fun going through the list together, but then you got in my fucking head with, oh, we should probably put some down that, we'll both have. And I'm like, he's right. Because, the other movies, I had Don't Make a Move, but I don't remember if that's the title of that movie.
Oh, the Soderbergh one that just came out?
Yeah.
With
Don Cheadle.
Don Cheadle, yeah, man.
That movie was excellent. But I'm like...
No sudden move,
yeah. So I knew Move was in it, but I couldn't remember. So that's why I took that one off and replaced it. And then, other ones that I had thought of, I mean, going with the whole Now and Then, G.I. Joe, Rise of Cobra, I would have just done other, uncredited things, so...
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so that leaves us 20 minutes to do a little bit of a discussion on Escape from Planet Earth, because Will, very much like Scorch and Gary, had to go on a journey to see this movie.
What happened, man?
And I have seen half of this movie, because that's what timing allowed me to do yesterday. I had the fun of it. It's not available on any streaming service in Australia. That was good.
Can't imagine.
And then
why.
who would? I mean, I feel it should be. There should be maybe a Brendan Fraser dedicated streaming service we begin. I feel people would get behind that.
Oh yes. We could label it with the Brendan Fraser NFT that just hit all of the great hot talking points right now.
Board Brendans.
Oh yeah, people would like that. And then we'll make Brendo coin.
Man, trading that Brendo? You got that Brendo though?
It's called Brendo coin, and I'm looking to sell all of mine.
I think everybody wants some, so just one coin each, and we'll be fine.
All right, so you saw half this movie.
Yeah,
what is the last scene you saw?
I ended up having to download it while using a VPN because Devin sent me a link because it wouldn't appear on my Netflix anyway. Found it, downloaded it, had to then put my phone on airplane mode so he didn't think I was anywhere and I could watch my download. So let me just double check exactly where I got to.
really cool to record all of the illegal things we did in this episode.
He did them in a different country. We can't speak to that.
That's true. I don't think that I'm sure there's some sort of force that could enforce it. We're the stream police.
Man, with everything going on in the world right now, what they do is come down on 3 dudes just shooting the shit about Escape from Planet Earth. What the fuck is that news story?
Which I would like to introduce a bit of new say vocabulary, which is Siegen's Finest Reserve. And that is an animated movie that, like, you would probably never watch, but if you did, it's a legit film.
It is it's a weird adventure to go down into these like weird rabbit holes, because I don't want to say it's exclusively an animated movie thing, but it is definitely like a family movie thing, right?
Yeah.
Unlike the R-rated movie that maybe like people want to have high-minded debate about, nobody ever really wants to have like high-minded conversation or debate about like family movies, right? And so it becomes this kind of thing where because of that, there's a lot of wide open cracks for really good films to slip through. And that's just true across the board. I'm not saying I have a penchant for finding them. I will watch any old thing that falls through the cracks. It's just that it so happens that there's just a good handful of really good family movies that get made that then people just don't see. Now, I am going to make sure that there are caveats across the board, especially for this movie, because there are some things with this movie that there's a reason why it doesn't really, like, it's not an instant classic for me, and it's not like one that I'm going to tell people to run out and rent. So I'm so sorry, Will, that you had to go through like the fucking dark web to watch this movie.
Well, I mean, I am excited to watch the end of it, because I was getting to a point where he was just on his way to the Dark Planet.
Okay.
As it is so called. So I have still got the bulk of this movie to actually happen. And I am excited to continue, and I will do, probably on a plane in the next couple of days. That might be my what do I do when I'm on a plane. I'm already on airplane mode, ticking all the boxes right away. I just like to go into Netflix.
I mean, what you mean is you've been on a plane all week, right? Wink, 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 wink.
Yes, nothing but planes in my life. God, so much air travel. I feel bad for the climate.
It's so kind of the pilot to let you use their radio to record this episode of the Say Report.
They fully admitted that actually phones don't affect the plane at all. Do what you want. So that's why I'm able to dial in and do this.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Phones do not affect airplanes.
This might be the first time Devin is hearing this, but I do not believe it is the first time our audience is. I don't think that this has been a thing. No,
it's been a known thing. It's just I don't want to tear down Alec Baldwin and his words with friends obsession. Okay,
I feel like if phones did affect planes, we wouldn't be allowed phones on planes. It's that simple.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Nah, you definitely can't take this on because the plane will crash. You'd be like, okay, that goes in the hold, and that's the rule.
Yeah, well,
you can do what you like. Just
I remember when
you really need to speak to people.
The thought was a Game Boy could crash a plane.
Oh yeah, I mean, like remember the whole idea of like don't talk on your cell phone while you're pumping at the tank, like, and then they found out like what you're more likely to have an issue with is don't wear like fuzzy clothes, because at least then the static electricity won't charge up.
Yeah, do you ground yourself before you pump gas?
I do, as a habit. It's just kind of a natural like habit of mine. I always make sure to like rub it on like the metal of the post, you know, like the car post, like what are they? The don't hit me post that inevitably every 16-year-old kid hits one of.
Oh yeah. Honestly, I've never done it. I'm so proud of myself. Now I've geared myself up for it.
Yes, but you're not a human. You are from
I am from the planet Bob.
Man, this movie. Yeah, like so I'm surprised that you're feeling like you're really hooked, because it actually took me till about this point in the movie, Will, to like actually like feel like, oh, okay, I can watch the rest of this. Like I was really worried that we were in for one of those kind of, oh, I'm going to have to just kind of jump around a lot style films procedure, because I just can't. My attention was not locked in, shall we say. But it was once they actually go to the Dark Planet and there's some stuff going down there that really kind of hooks me instantly. It just took a little long for it to get there. And really, it's not even... For me, it is... the dialogue of this film is just atrocious. There are things that are just said for no fucking reason. Like, the script is not helping the dialogue, and the dialogue is delivered in really weird ways in some places in the first 30 minutes. Then once it is just like the main crew of actors, and you just have Rob Corddry talking to Brendan Fraser, talking to some fucking Jane Lynch, right? And
Jane Lynch, Craig Robinson, and everybody's favorite George Lopez.
Yeah, George Lopez. But like once it gets to that crew, it is a much more locked in like situation. It feels like a really good. But there is some stuff early on in this movie that feels a little rough. Dialogue though throughout the whole thing, there's some shit in here that even George Lopez himself can't save.
I need to say that I was sold on this movie. I was so in on this movie as soon as Kira was like, my kid is missing, jump into fucking action.
Oh, yeah. Nope,
Kira
fantastic.
was like Sarah Jessica Parker. It was nice seeing her again after Dudley Do-Right, right? We did it, guys. We bookended it. Seeing Sarah Jessica Parker again in a movie, and then like not just playing this like terrible female character. I mean, we're recording this after we recorded our Spider-Man episode, which Mary Jane Watson is still like it has been bothering me all day. That Spider-Man movie and the effect.
Well, and I didn't say this in the episode, but I will say this here just as a part of the Say Report proper. Really interesting to compare the ways in which Mary Jane is treated by Sam Raimi in a superhero movie versus what we then see happening to Wanda in Multiverse of Madness. I'm not saying that one is good or bad. Like, well, let's face it. We were saying Mary Jane was bad, but I'm not saying the way that Wanda is handled is good or bad. That's a discussion that I would love to have on the actual show one day. But an interesting thing to view that I didn't point out when we were kind of bashing on the ways in which Mary Jane was handled
in the thick of it. Yeah, it's it is. So then to see this well-written, strong-willed, capable character, like, and then I was so upset.
Yeah, when, again, Will hasn't gotten to the good stuff on this yet.
If Will has gotten Gary leaving...
It's nice to hear what's to come exciting stuff, because I think, like, already I found that the relationship between, like, Gary and Gary's brothers was fun, and it's like, yeah, he's just Brendan's messing around, having a good time doing stuff. And then you bring in Kiefer, who's a nice, fun kid who's messing around with the drone, and you go, it's all nice, easy stuff. You don't really have to put too much
it's not
focus into to just enjoy.
You're right. Yeah, you haven't seen any of the complications yet.
And the complications are next level. Like, I am excited.
I watched it on a bus on my way home yesterday. So I was like trying to focus on it. It's like, oh God, what's going on? And I was like, this is nice. It's just a happy, fun bus ride.
Yeah.
And then I got home and I kept walking while watching my phone, then realized that was nice and safe. So I paused it till I got inside my house. On the plane that I was definitely on.
Inside the plane, right. You went up
Will
to your house.
lives in an airplane.
The bus to the plane.
Yeah.
Bus to plane, plane to house.
It's an Airbus, you're not, but even then, like, so you saw Gary leave Planet Bob, right? Did you see him launch? I don't want to.
Yes.
Okay. So then you've seen the moment, like there was this moment, I was like totally on board for the film. And then that thing with Kira where like, oh my God, they're not just putting her in the back, like Sarah Jessica Parker, it seems like is going to be an actual character. And I'm like, oh my God, the whole family is going to go to planet Earth and that's going to be interesting. And then they're taken out of the ship and he goes alone. And I'm just like, well, all the goodwill that you just built up for me, movie, is fucking gone. And then it's replaced by, as Sejan pointed out, Jane Lynch, Craig Robinson, and George Lopez. And what I'm going to say, and I'm going to try not to spoil it for Will. We'll definitely talk about the second half of this movie once Will leaves for the airport to get on another plane. I really don't understand this bit that we're doing, guys. I'm sorry.
I am racking up air miles. Jeez.
It's going to be, I was like upset because I'm like, you had done something so different from what it feels like every other piece of media that I have watched lately, which was actually make a female character like capable and cool and a meaningful part of the story. And then to just like tear that away, I was so mad. And after the break, we'll discuss more.
Yeah, I'm biting my tongue because there's not that I want to like completely disagree with you or anything, but I want to expand, and I don't want to do it with people in the room that literally have not finished it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean it is a fun movie, and I look forward to hearing how you feel about the rest of it. And you should definitely watch the rest of it because if you like what you're watching so far, Will, it only just gets better.
It does. It gets so much better, which is maybe that betrays a little bit what happens based on my speech here. But the cast too. I mean, it's a little. First of all, let's address with Will here some of the elephants in the room that we'll remember Brendan from last time. The fact that this is a Weinstein picture made me want to.
Yeah, that was an awkward logo.
Yeah.
Yeah, awkward logo, and like I like that the spaceship took it away, and I was like, no, cool, it got taken away, but I was like, it's still there.
Yeah,
it still feels the same.
Yeah, so you get that. I thought you were like, we should talk about it's Will Shatner in this movie, is it not?
It is Will Shatner in this movie as William T. Shanker, which is fantastic.
Weird. Playing Captain Kirk, T.J. Hooker.
Oh, at this point, Will, have you gotten to any of the bits about all of the agents being named after like movie stars and stuff, and like movie makers?
No, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, that joke is next level. I mean, I was going to address the other elephant in the room, which is Ricky Gervais, and the fact that we're covering this movie literally the day after he kind of shit his pants on his foot. I don't know. It was one of those situations where, like, man, the early 2010s were a very different time than now. It's so crazy when we get to look back, like, 9 years, right? It's a 9-year difference from when this released to where we are right now. And just how much the scene has changed in those 9 years is excellent. I actually think that it's a lot of change for the better.
I'm excited to talk about the other half of this movie.
Yeah, I understand that you're excited to talk about the movie. Yeah,
we should say goodbye to Will and before he has to like literally run out.
Yeah, no, I'm watching the timer once we get to 5 minutes. So, is there anything else you want to share about your time with the first half of this movie, Will? Before we just kind of dress it down, let you plug some things, or
on the Ricky Gervais thing, I instantly was like, oh, it's like he's being Marvin the Paranoid Android, but. I don't know, not a reimagining, because it was very similar in that kind of like, I'm better than all of the things you think I can do.
Yeah, I was thinking it was a little bit more like it was a little bit of like a more beaten down Hal for me from Space Odyssey,
Yeah, he's definitely not Eddie from Hitchhiker's Guide. It would be more in line with something like what you said, Marvin from Hitchhiker's Guide. But then, of course, I'm immediately thinking about Stephen Fry as the voice of the guide in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy movie, and I'm like, who did this type of character better?
Yeah,
and so
but it also brings in kind of elements of like Holly in Red Dwarf, if you guys have seen any of those, where it is like that kind of like board computer that is way better than what you're asking it to do. And I think it's interesting to have. This was obviously at a point in Ricky Gervais' career where he was like, let's do loads of Hollywood movies and become that guy. And none of them quite hit. And it's like, just go back to the UK and write your own stuff, because that's when it lands.
This is the final rung.
It's weird thing and do other stuff.
This is the final rung for Ricky Gervais, because he did things like Ghost Town and The Invention of Lying, and those landed like lead balloons. So then he's like, well, I'll do voice acting, right? No, if people must not like my face, but they like hearing me. And it's like, no, I don't.
It becomes one of those things where like you're willing to do a lot of work, and it's not that voice line acting is not hard work, but the fact of the matter is we're past the point when this movie is made when guys are literally calling in and doing it over the phone. Like you could fit it in while you're doing other stuff as well, right? So it becomes like, as a springboard part of his career, like it becomes a really easy thing to just slot in literally while he's on the set for other movies if he needs to be. Especially this character, because as you mentioned, he plays this like robot-y voice that gets slightly modulated in certain places and things like that too. So it's like he doesn't have to be as present as maybe he needed to be on some of those other projects.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Definitely.
So
I think, I was like when it first dropped out, and I hadn't really looked at the cast list apart from knowing that Brendan Fraser was in it, and then I started recognizing voices, and I was like, oh wow, okay, there's some like pedigree in this movie. that.
Yeah,
I guess
think that's...
within in my mind, it's that kind of thing. Like, actually, this happened 10 or so years ago.
Yeah.
Not now. So I'm like, it's weird to hear these voices now and think, wow, they got some big names. I'm like, actually, 10 years ago, these were pretty bigger names than they might be now.
Yeah.
And that makes it even more interesting.
Well, I mean, even Rob Corddry, you want to talk about Ricky Gervais and where he is in his career. Rob Corddry's in the same exact place. Like, this guy trying to make it in bigger movies and trying to find himself in these like leading roles. But of course, as the kind of comedy guy that he is, the leading roles he's getting in movies are like Hot Tub Time Machine and stuff like that, right? So this is a little bit more of a different character than we've seen him play in other movies, and he gets to play that character, I think, because it's not him on screen.
Yeah, it's exciting to hear him play a character like Gary that is so off-brand for what we see from Rob Corddry. I was so happy when I'm like, oh my god, it's Rob Corddry, and then the movie just proceeded to like make me smile more and more as he got to do something different. All right, Will. So we're down to the last couple minutes. Is there anything you want to say to write off this Brendan Fraser History Month? Is there anything you want to say? It's your birthday, right? So like the floor is yours. Part of this episode is yours, and you can cry if you want to. I don't
think there's anything about Brendan that makes me want to cry, apart from maybe the episode of Scrubs where, spoilers for 20 years ago, where he dies. That's a sad episode. And I think we can all appreciate how good John C. McGinley is in that episode of Scrubs. Everyone go watch that. That's what I'd like for my birthday. Everyone go watch the episode of Scrubs with Brendan Fraser, where John C. McGinley does an amazing body of acting.
I know it's season 4, but do you know what episode it is?
It's more. I mean, he's in more than one episode. It's like leads up to that.
No, he's in. Well, I know he's in season 1, episode 22 and 23, and then he's in an episode in season 3. But the one where he passes away is a season 4 episode.
Yeah,
and I only know that because he's not in any episodes after season 4. Not to be cavalier about his passing, but
it's the one. It's the combination of that and Jack's. Well, Dr. Cox's son's first birthday party. And he's like, where do you think you are? Is the kind of final line as he finally realizes that Brendan Fraser's not there anymore. It's a very good episode, and it's always a sad one.
It is a good episode. And you know what? And in the break, we will make sure that so everybody can celebrate Will's birthday with him today to give you the actual title of the episode so that you can make good on Will's wish for his birthday. And we'll make sure to plug you at the end of it if people want to get in touch with you, if they need any quiz needs. But it's lightning round, baby. 60 seconds left on the clock. What do you got? It's all you, Will.
Yeah, I am available for quizzes here, there, and everywhere. Please give me at least a week's lead time on what we're quizzing, and I will do something. If they're about Brendan Fraser, absolutely great. Already got them written. But you tell me.
I'd love to see the Brendan binder someday.
Probably a filing cabinet at this point.
Well, there was a point I did think for this one. I was like, do I just go back and pick one question a year of the previous questions?
I'm surprised you didn't. Remember. That would have been so embarrassing for us when we inevitably got them wrong. I'm surprised you didn't do that.
Well, let me tell you, I thought you were going to pick one question from each of the 4 quizzes we've done so far, and it would be embarrassing when we did not know them.
Ooh,
that's where my mind was.
Tell you what happens in the 10th year.
Okay. God. So that's it, guys. Four years to look forward to. Will's got a crazy quiz prepared for us already. All right, well, thank you so much for being here with us. It's always a pleasure. You are always welcome.
Oh,
that's time.
Your done.
It is a Pampered Chef timer, so I appreciate all the "it sounds like a microwave" jokes. All right, but so CJ and I have got to drive Will to the airport, and we will see you on the other side. Will, thanks again for stopping by. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Say Report. I'm your host, Devin Decker, and joining me again, as always, my host companion, Sejan Sarowick.
Devin, what is this message you just said to me? Who wants a body massage?
Who wants a body massage? Mr. Body Massage Machine, go! Do you remember the G.I. Joe PSAs?
Oh man.
From the early days of the internet.
So you sent it to me in the middle of us recording?
No, I sent that to you before we started recording.
Oh, well, see, I don't pay attention to my phone while we record.
That's
well,
it
we
was
went
before.
on break and I checked my phone and that's what I saw.
I mean, is the picture of Roadblock there, or is it just?
Nope. It's just the message.
It's just me saying who wants a body massage. I didn't send the photo, so
I mean, you might have sent the photo, but it's not on my phone.
I bet I didn't send the photo. To be honest with you, I tried to send it to you and Will, and I know I sent it to Will because he responded. The only reason I said "Who wants a body massage" to you is Will responded with a quote from the body massage video. Because as much as I complained about toy collecting in the last episode of the Stay Report, I was just dicking around on Amazon. And here's the thing I'm not a huge fan of is Hasbro. I don't know why I said it like Attleboro.
Yeah.
Welcome to Hasbro, Massachusetts.
There's a small town in Little Rhode Island called Hasbro.
Ah, yes. It nestled in the middle of Pawtucket. It's like the Vatican.
Where
it's where all your toys come from.
Live in perfect harmony.
So Hasbro loves to do exclusive figures. And one of the exclusives they did was with Amazon, and it was Roadblock. And he actually looked like Roadblock. Roadblock in the G.I. Joe Classified line is the character that has the most releases. I'm actually kind of proud of it. I have all of them so far. I'm not a huge Roadblock character, but his first release, hyper saturated colors and like gold everywhere. So he looks all blinged out. And then people complained about that. So they did a running change of that where he had more like army colors.
Yeah.
Where the gold is like a nice dark brown or black. And his lime green vest is more like army fatigue color. And then they also did, with Target, they do exclusives, and it's called Cobra Island, which is based on, like, I think the third season of the original. No, that can't be true, because the third season is based on the movie. So it's the second season is the whole Cobra Island storyline, where Cobra's like, we own an island, come get us, G.I. Joe.
Yeah, we make our own rules now. You can't arrest us.
Yeah, we're not breaking our laws.
Well, actually...
Turns out the United Nations, they sanctioned us.
Was that before or after the run in Cable Deadpool, where Cable does the exact same thing, where he creates the Utopia?
That was, I mean, G.I. Joe was the 80s. So
yeah, so it would have been long before the Cable Deadpool stuff, because that would have been late 80s, early 90s when that stuff's, shit, man. It just, it is an interesting exploration of politics in those types of situations, for sure. Well, I don't know if I trust G.I. Joe to handle it with a deft hand, but...
Well, I mean, it's also, G.I. Joe, a lot of the original stories were all Marvel, so it's kind of just going back to the Marvel well in like this really insane thing. Because like Mount Wundagore, and aside from how it was portrayed in Multiverse of Madness, it was the High Evolutionaries sort of utopia on the hill, where he made the Animen, and I abide by the higher laws of science. I am not constrained by the laws of man.
Right.
So it's something that Marvel does a lot. So it wasn't hyper surprising when they did the whole Cobra Island.
Doom as a character is just everything about Doom. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, you mean Latveria?
Yeah,
exactly. So one of those situations. So they did a exclusive. All the other characters were like legitimate exclusives. Like it was the only way to get Beachhead or Firefly. And then they did another Roadblock. And this Roadblock is like, for some reason, for the island mission, is wearing Arctic camouflage tank top. And he has a big bushy beard, and he has a backwards hat and sunglasses. Like, legitimately, Roadblock's like, oh, we're going to an island? I am sunbathing. I'm not doing my job.
Come on, we're on vacation, Joes.
So basically, the three Roadblocks that had come out beforehand were like, it was undeniably a Roadblock, but not what you want from it. Not like really evocative of the original like 3.75 inch figure that people had. Sure. So then when it came time to like, let's do an Amazon exclusive. The first Amazon exclusive, it was the only way to get Storm Shadow. It was an Arctic mission Storm Shadow, and he never went to stores. And honestly, I don't think he ever went to Amazon, because by the time I saw him on there, he was like $300. So like some midnight drop. And that's exactly what happened with Roadblock, and he comes with like a Gatling gun, and he has on his like iconic Roadblock outfit, and he comes with a Desert Eagle pistol as his sidearm. And the thing with the exclusive GI Joes, I'm sorry that I went down this line, but you mentioned the body massage text, is the ones that are sold.
So obviously.
The ones that are sold at retail, the guns that they come with are like kind of goofy. These aren't real guns, right? Like, we don't want to promote gun violence, which is real, like, you know,
none
especially
of them are real guns, Devin.
No, I understand
toys,
that,
Devin.
but it's like the Roadblock that is an exclusive for Amazon. It looks like a Desert Eagle pistol. The $40 Snake Eyes that commemorated and launched the whole GI Joe classified line, he comes with like a real, it like replica, looks like an Uzi, as opposed to the one that was released at retail. His gun kind of looks like a Nerf gun. For lack of a better word.
So these are like the gritty remake G.I. Joes.
So with the classified exclusive, it's that. And again, like, Roadblock dropped and was gone, and you could only get him for like $100. I think the cheapest I ever saw him was $65, and I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna do it. And then I was just browsing through Amazon, and I saw him at the $20 price tag, so I scooped him up. And I'm like, I'm probably not ever get this. Let's just be honest about that. But he did show up at the house, and I opened him up today because it felt appropriate, since Brendan Fraser plays General Hawk in G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra. And now you understand all of the background stuff from the text I sent Sejan that didn't include the photo of him. So you'll get the photo later, Sejan. And if you want the photo from me, if you want me to, I'll you know what, I think we'll set up an Instagram for the Say Report, and I'll put it up on that just for fun.
You should get some stuff sent over there.
Yeah, I should look into that, because apparently Instagram's the place to be. But yeah, so welcome back to the Say Report.
OnlyFans went down the tube, so I guess it's time that we go to Instagram instead.
People were not interested in only seeing pictures of my collection of Chinese fans that I have amassed over the years. The photos were only fans.
They were only fans. Yeah, we took anything out that wasn't.
There was that photo that had like your thumb in it, and it was a beautiful photo of a fan, but we had to delete it.
Yeah, we did. We trashed that one because Dev. So we should definitely keep talking about the movie, just because we kind of left off on it.
Yeah, we kind of left, much like Will just stopped.
Too, but
yeah. You're the one. It was this or it was Avengers. What would you prefer we talked about?
Oh, I'm so glad that we talked about this instead.
Okay. Escape from Planet Earth. Spoiler time, right? Everything that we talked about prior to the break, really wasn't hyper spoilery. Here come the spoilers, kids.
I mean, as much as you can spoil this movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so this is a really. There's a lot of this movie that feels like it's been done before. There's a lot of moments. There's a lot of moments where I was really getting like Monsters versus Aliens vibes and things like that. And there's some stuff that.
Oh, you mean like the scene lifted right from Monsters versus Aliens with the paddle ball?
Yeah, there was a few of those kinds of things. But that idea that like we're gonna do kind of a throwback to these retro movies with monster movies, but the monsters are going to be the good guys this time, right? Like that's kind of the idea of what we get to eventually. The problem is that that's not what's set up in the first 30 minutes of this movie. What's set up in the first 30 minutes of this movie is more like a Buzz Lightyear Star Command style story, which I'm super on board for. So like part of my thing with this movie where I get hung up on it is, I mentioned earlier, like some of the dialogue is just there's no talking about it. Like, it's just unfortunate dialogue. Like the very first moment Ricky Gervais's character introduces himself, it is so forced into the conversation, like only to get in the joke about his name that is then never referenced again. So like it just felt so awkward in the moment and then pointless by the end. Anyway, so like some of the dialogue is a little weird, and then structurally there's some weird shit that happens in what they kind of, where they want the comedy to come from, where they want the like the story to come from. So like it just wades back and forth between this like this really weird idea that it wants to be this like this sci-fi heroic action adventure movie, but then it also really wants to lean into making fun of these tropes about like monster movies and monster jokes and how many eye jokes can we make about the one-eyed monster type stuff. Like it just the movie gets a little kind of all over the place at certain moments. It keeps itself together quite well. It's a completely watchable and like consumable film, fun, would watch again. But like, there is definitely a reason why I think this movie kind of falls away from anybody and doesn't get referenced anymore. And maybe it's just waiting in the wings to become the next big Shrek, you know, that everybody seems to reference.
I mean, unfortunately, I think with that Weinstein right up top, that's never going to happen. And it's unfortunate, but it's one of those things. I remember we did an episode of the show called The Gnome Report. And that was when I realized that David the Gnome, beloved childhood cartoon that I grew up on and is a big part of who I am, was a Weinstein production, and just like it completely changes everything for me, especially that episode where David and his wife just sort of walk into the mountains to die. It's like, oh God, I hate everything about this now. And like, I hated it before because it was sad, because it was a kid's show that was exploring the themes of death and remorse and grief. And now I hate it because of the people who like put it together and presented it to the world and what they represent. And it's unfortunate that they're the ones, because this movie's never going to get revisited again. Like it's become a weird theme of this year celebrating Brendan Fraser History Month, that we have kind of picked the movies that are one and dones, that definitely deserve to be discussed, definitely deserve to be celebrated as part of Brendan's filmography. But then once they've been celebrated, if we put them into the Say Report vault, never to be examined again, I don't think anybody would be too sad about that.
Yeah. I know that nobody's going to be out there screaming like, you tore down Dudley Do-Right and it was the movie of my childhood. Like I think this movie kind of falls squarely in that category as well. This movie is worth a watch, but not worth like pulling out and dissecting. Like we here are going to probably hit all the points that ever need to be hit on this movie.
Yeah, and that's
even we are going to be stretching a bit. That's why we spent 20 minutes just now talking about getting a massage from fucking G.I. Joe
from Roadblock. Yeah, it's just an unfortunate thing, because this movie, I think the best way that I could describe it is that it has a 3:2 ratio, where every 3 minutes of movie have to be like, oh my God, comedy, and then the last 2 minutes get to move along the plot. Yeah. And that's sort of how the entire hour and 30-minute runtime of this picture is structured. And,
well, and in the structure of the story, what that means is that you get like a minute of Brendan Fraser being goofy, and then 2 minutes of Rob Corddry moving the plot, then a minute of Brendan Fraser being goofy, and then 2 minutes of Rob Corddry moving along the plot. Like you can watch the pendulum swing between when it's going to be a fun, goofy clown bit with Brendan Fraser, or if it's going to be like a serious, let's get the movie moving bit with Rob Corddry. Like.
Yeah, it's but really it's like a thing of Brendan Fraser being goofy, a thing of Craig Robinson being goofy, right, and then either George Lopez or Jane Lynch get to be goofy, and then Rob Corddry's like, all right, now that we got that out of our systems, guys.
Yeah.
Here's what's actually happening and here's what's important. And then once he finishes his little exposition dump, his 2 minutes of exposition, you know, Scorch is lighting his dick on fire while Craig Robinson is doing a Fraser impression. And then Jane Lynch gets poked in her eye, poking George Lopez's character in his middle eye.
Is this a really early, is this in that time period where we're starting to do the nerds can be cool revolution with like the Big Bang Theory and stuff like that? Like,
I mean, so the Big Bang Theory is 2008. I want to say that's the year for that one. Maybe I actually think it's 2007. It's a year after How I Met Your Mother, which is 2006. So 15 years ago, which actually checks out because the Big Bang Theory had 12 seasons. Math. I'm wearing a Flash t-shirt with a long sleeve shirt underneath it. I'm not. I'm wearing my Shantae shirt, which is my new podcasting shirt.
That's
Anywho.
okay. I'm wearing my Superman shirt. It is what it is. But no, I asked because the movie really leans into that very tropey old story, right? Where you have the one brother that's a nerd, one brother that's a jock, and the jock is the one that's really popular, everybody loves, and the nerd is the one really doing the work, but nobody seems to recognize it. That's where this movie starts, right? And that is kind of the way that these stories always start in these in this like celebration of nerddom that's gone on in the last 10 to 15 years. The ways in which that concept is blown up of like bringing the nerd to the foreground and nerds can be cool too type shit that's been going on. Love it or hate it, it was there, right? Like and I think this is one of those rare examples where they actually do a really really good job, because one of the things that I personally hate about the trope of the nerds can be cool storyline is that very often you start off with a guy that in his nerddom has become very incelish.
Yeah.
No, like yeah,
incelish is good. Yeah.
But it's not, because it's not just bitter. Like the ways in which he treats other people sucks. He doesn't necessarily deserve to get that by the end, and that's not Gary.
Peter Parker 2002.
Yeah, funny. But that idea, right? Like where, I mean, look at the Big Bang Theory. One of the biggest critiques of that is that those guys are kind of fucking horrible. So like getting to see them like grow up and be cool is not always fun to watch. Ted Mosby, right? Like it's also part of that too, right? Like he kind of exemplifies this trope on a lesser scale. But that idea being that it's very hard because they very much come out looking very nice guy-ish or asshole-ish or just all of these problematic things. And this movie avoids that with him. That being said, the ways in which everybody else treats him and things like that, like there's a lot of really dumb stuff that I had to remember that this movie was 12 years old, right? Like I had to remind myself, like, well, this was 12 years ago. So right kind of on the cusp of that idea of like, maybe we don't treat everybody like crap just because they wear glasses or something, like whatever stupid reason we're going to pick on them. Because that was probably one of the hardest things for me to get over, but I recognize that was a me thing and not the movie thing, is that whole story of him being the guy behind the desk. He literally leads mission control for this planet that looks like it's supposed to be the equivalent of at least America, if not Earth, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's supposed to be this equivalent of Earth.
They have a CNN.
And he leads their entire like friggin' like division of space exploration. Like he is mission control.
He's the guy in the white vest in Apollo 13. Ed Harris? Is that the character who plays that character?
Yes, I believe Ed Harris is the guy you're referring to.
I almost said Ed Helms. I'm sorry.
No, but like he should. There's no reason for him to be disrespected by society in the ways in which he is in this movie, only because we're supposed to believe in that stupid trope.
Well, I will say, as much as that trope is an important part of the movie, the disrespect that he suffers seems to come from the fact that his brother is more popular. And so when he mocks his brother because everybody loves this superstar,
that's
war hero.
That's how it is in real life too.
Yeah, I mean,
like of course that's where it comes from. Yeah, because the popular person says it's who we should pick on. It's what everybody picks on. But that's what I'm saying, is that we have grown from that, right? Like look at the ways in which the Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum movies there.
21 Jump Street.
21 Jump Street movies play with that exact idea where they show up and they think, oh, well, we're going to do that bit, and then immediately get called on it, right? Like, from that point on, that trope was dead to me. Like, you can't do that anymore and have it work for Siegen, because all I think of is that moment where Channing Tatum tries to be the cool kid again and just fucks it, right? And that's exactly what I was thinking the entire time I was watching this. Like, yes, it does come from the fact that his brother starts it and everybody wants to be with the cool guy, but, like, yeah, that's exactly my point.
Right, but I do think that, like, when he's off planet and he's doing his stuff in Mission Control, well, I guess it's weird because he's the only guy in Mission Control, right? Mm-hmm. He doesn't have other people there who, like, can say nice job. He has his wife, but then even his supervisor, which we then find out maybe why she is distrustful and, like, tears him down a little bit, because he might be the only one smart enough to figure her out. That, like, Lena treats him like...
There are other people that work at BASA, as they call it, but there's this idea that, like, everybody refers to him as the beep, boop, beep guy. Like, they don't know what he's doing up there. Like, you're just up there pressing your computers. His own kid says, you're not doing anything, you're just staring at a screen. And it's like... Yeah, actually, he's doing a lot.
Which, like, that's a moment where, like, you just watched him land the spaceship remotely. Is he really just, like, dicking around? Or that's a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean, is the way his character is portrayed in this movie. versus the way he's treated by everybody else doesn't really jive very well with me. It's a very weird thing. But then but then I have to remember that this was made 12 years ago, and it's in that era where these are the kinds of stories we're telling. Is that the nerd is the hero, and that's this whole movie, right? And I want to.
I kind of disagree that that's this whole movie, because it really feels like the message is that is his character arc. But the messaging of the movie is not just the nerd is the hero. It is about teamwork, because it is the fact that, like, sure, this jock and everybody likes him, but there are things that one cannot accomplish without the other. And it doesn't just go the one way. Like, there are moments where he's like, I would actually need your help on this.
Well, then I would say that it's a failure on this movie's part that he doesn't treat his brother more like crap. because if Gary was half as bad to Buzzcut, what's his name there?
Scorcher.
If he was half as mean to Scorch as Scorch is to him just about being dumb, then maybe I would be more on board with it. But this movie doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't go full pickle on that. And it's because they're afraid that if they allow Gary to kick the cat, and it wouldn't even be like kicking the cat, it would be like stepping on the cat while you're going up the stairs, because why the fuck is the cat on the stairs, right? Yeah. You've lived in this house for 8 years. You know that people use those as a way to walk through. Why would you sleep there, cat? Because it's not that he'd be kicking him, but if it were one of those situations where, like, you make fun of me for being smart, I make fun of you for being dumb, sort of thing. And it's this unfortunate thing where it's where the nice guy trope comes from. It is 100% where the nice guy trope arrives, because the nerd is not defending himself in any way, shape, or form. Even with like a witty retort or anything like that, he's kind of just folding it and taking it, which is why all of these quote unquote nice guys who are like, oh, if I just sit there and take it, like, I'll eventually be rewarded. Like, fuck you. That's not how it works.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
one of the many elements of it.
Yeah. Sorry. I was driving home today just mad at society, and not mad at current society, but mad at how something like Spider-Man affected society, and like just how easily I can gaze back into my own memory and be like, oh yeah, like this person totally built their character off of that and this, and then how this movie based off of that. And like, I don't want to talk about that. I really want to talk about Escape from Planet Earth, because I was blown away by this movie. Like, the whole Siege's Finest Reserve, like, that is high praise for me, because I remember all these times where you would be like, oh, we're going to go see this animated movie. And I'm like, oh, we're going to go see that animated movie that looks like garbage? And then I would walk out of it like, man, that was a fucking good movie. I need to make sure I tell Siege. Like, it's one of those situations where I would have never seen that movie, but Siege being like, there's really nothing else, and we're obviously going to go see License to Wed, and we'll couple it with this animated movie that looks passable enough.
Yeah. I mean, like, and there is definitely, there's a lot to parse about, like, the way this movie is made, in that, like, I think the animation for 2010 is downright gorgeous.
It's 2013. I just want to, you keep saying like 12 years, and that's when it was probably put together and everything, but it is a 2013 release.
Okay.
Yeah, I just
still
making
looks
sure.
Like pretty good animation, though, so I'm going to stick with that comment. So yeah, so it's really,
it's not Sinbad Beyond the Veil. Yeah, you're not.
No, like it has this really beautiful animation, and like, what did you think I was going to say? Like 2013? Oh fuck, never mind. It looks like shit.
No,
like...
I didn't think you were going to. No, I just want to make sure that distinction wise, I don't want to get a bunch of things from people like, well, actually that came out in 2013. I'm like, yeah, I know that, but what Siegen is talking about is these movies don't come out overnight.
Yeah, all those Dark Planet heads out there that are really down on this movie that are going to be really pissed about that.
Drinking Dark Planet Cola with its 800% sugar content. Let's be fair, that's basically the energy drink I had before this. Oh, man.
But yeah, so like there's some really good animation, and there's a lot of respect paid and love paid to movie making beforehand. Like the jokes about the different like movie makers that were influenced by the technology and things like that are really really funny. Like
That
they straight up call out Pixar in this movie.
I loved that. The moment, like it took all of my power not to ruin this moment for Will when he said where he was and he brought up Marvin the paranoid android as a sort of like XP for the character that Ricky Gervais is portraying. When they see the signed floor of everybody who has helped design the planet shield, Zaphod Beeblebrox is one of the people who has signed it. And I'm just like, that's awesome. And it's Alf and it's Dr. Hephaestus. Like, these are the ones that, like, I noticed while I was watching it. And if you go out there, there is a list of just all the sci-fi influences that they had signed that floor in some way, shape, or form to represent, like, this is where we're coming from. This is what influenced our storytelling here.
Yeah. There's just a lot of really that sort of good stuff going on too. So I do love all of that too.
I mean, animation-wise, I would like to just point out Thurman, which I believe that's George Lopez's character's name.
Yeah.
The movement on that character, as
and
like
slime and all that
the way the slime is, the way like the body serpentines, it's so fluid, so smooth. It looks so realistic. Like they put a lot of time into that character.
Yeah, that looks really good, and it's interesting because you talk about the way in which it moves specifically, and like the amount of and how much movement is going on, and I think of like when Pixar did Finding Dory, and they had to give Hank, I think is the
octopus?
Septipus's name.
Yeah.
Well, Septipus because he only has seven. He only has 7 legs because by their own admission, 8 legs was just the math was just impossible for them as far as like designing a program that would allow him to move appropriately. But by removing 1 leg on him, they then were able to make him move better. And then what that ends up doing is it plays beautifully into the movie's concept because he then also has a disability as well, and that's a whole movie about a disability, right? Mm-hmm. So like it just became this beautiful moment for them in creating that character. And and you think about that, about how even Pixar runs up against those kinds of issues as far as like character movement and things like this. And this movie, it just that is why this movie kind of stands out to me, is that they do have things like that going on. While some of the stuff that they're saying might be kind of goofy, at the end of the day, what you're seeing the entire time is some pretty gorgeous stuff.
Absolutely gorgeous. Another thing that I would just want to lavish praise on is the character of Io, portrayed by Jane Lynch. It is a big, bulky, like monster style alien, and the femininity that they are able to put into like some of the poses or ways that Io moves, it blew me away. Like it was just good animation. Because it's still obviously like this is a very strong character, but just again they put so much from. There's like this moment where she's paid a compliment from Thurman, and she like kind of does like the 1 leg up, kind of like, oh thank you, I'm a little embarrassed that you gave me that compliment thing. Like, I'm not used to being given praise when I have a good idea. And I'm just like, oh my God, that was gorgeous, because you're still this scary, strong creature, but it's very clear that you are a female of your species.
Well, one of the things that this movie is playing on the entire time, and this is a perfect example of it, is playing with the comedy is found through playing with your expectations, right?
Yes.
So like normally in a monster movie like this, we're watching the humans, but this time we're watching the monsters. Like that is a larger trope going on here, right? But in that, like, usually this large bulky character would be an extremely masculine dumb dude, and it's not this time. It's this. Like that's the kind of stuff going on all over this movie. Is like you when you least expect it, they're gonna pull out this weird twist. It's never weird to you as an audience member if you're 35 years old. I'll be entirely honest. Like revealing who the true bad guy was, and like the connection to the evil queen and things like that. Like that, none of that stuff like hit me like, oh my God, I have to rewatch it now and see if I can find the clues. Like, no, yes, that is what it is. But it's comfort food in that way, because of the way that you see that the way that they're playing with certain tropes, and certain things are going to hold and certain things are not, and they're going to twist certain things on their head and stuff like that. That's fun, right? Like that's what, like watching any good satire.
Yeah, it is. It's a fun movie. I just had fun with this movie.
The two dudes that they run into,
Hawk and Hammer.
Those guys are awesome.
Steve Zahn given 1,000% to the performance of Hawk. And I'm just like, oh my God, Steve Zahn. And then Chris Parnell would usually give that same thing.
couple of different roles in this movie, doesn't he? Like he plays a computer at one point.
No, that's Bill Hader, who is uncredited in all of his appearances in this movie.
Okay.
Yeah, he plays the Earth-side computers and everything
Nice.
like that. And he plays the radio guy. No, Chris Parnell is only Hammer, who is the other like 7-Eleven guy. And it's such a good performance from Chris Parnell because he has to sort of be the straight man in that group. Like he's the Abbott to the Costello, just to use the old vaudevillian terms. And it works because Chris Parnell would be capable of doing what Steve Zahn is doing, but he understands that, like, no, this should be a more reserved performance. Like, they can't both be
Subtle
over
Chris
the top.
Parnell. I don't know if I would ever have thought of that.
This whole movie is, like you say, messing with expectations. It is so many actors who are known for one thing getting to do the inverse of that thing.
Yeah, getting to do something else, getting to stretch their legs. Funny enough, yeah. Well, and again, I go back to what we were saying about Rob Corddry earlier. Is the animation allows you to do that as an actor, right? And so there's a conversation that's out there about animated film, about the idea that like voice actors are getting kind of trounced nowadays because larger actors want to get the role behind the scenes and stuff, and it's really killing the voice acting industry in a lot of ways. And I totally am on board with that and respect that. But when watching this movie for Brendan Fraser, like that is the reason he chooses to do it, right? Is because he gets to do something he wouldn't normally get to do in these movies. Like he gets to be kind of not the villain, but definitely antagonistic, right? In the goofy hero
role. He gets to be a jerk. He gets to like he gets to be a jerk. It's the same reason why he's Grayson in something like The Nut Job.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Like it's very reminiscent of his character of Grayson, but like his wits are about him the whole time. He doesn't have the amnesia issue. But I mean, Grayson, as much as everybody is like, "Oh, you're the hero, Grayson," like he's just as much a jerk as Surly is. Surly's just honest about it.
Yeah.
Like that's the difference there. And you know what you said? I don't know if this becomes the next Shrek or not. What this movie has been remade, and it's not like a one-for-one remake, but it's Onward. Like very much the Pixar film Onward is influenced a lot by what you see on display in Escape from Planet Earth.
The brother
with the two brother relationship.
Yeah.
The B plot of a strong female character being involved and trying to also solve the problem. I mean, like, sure, the whole thing of the mom and the wife. It was like really interesting as this thing as you're talking about, like you have the smart brother and you have like the strong brother, and I'm like, well, that's Onward, and then it's like, well, they're blue, they're in a fantastic world.
Yeah, but you know what that movie does is that movie shows that the two of them do love each other from the beginning. You know what I mean? There's not the butting of heads. Yes, in the plot of the movie they butt heads because they both want to do separate things with the time that they have, right? But there's this idea that's kind of a rare conflict for them, and that's where the interest of the movie comes, and that's why me as a watcher and as somebody that has a brother, like I click much faster with that. I don't click as fast with this idea with these two guys that just seem to they should not talk to each other. Like the only thing keeping them in conversation is that they are brothers at this point. And then you get to the point where that's not the case anymore, and they earn it. I'm not saying that they don't earn the turn by the end. It's just that if you want to hook me, he is specifically Scorch. I keep calling him Scorcher.
You could call him Scorchios. That's his cereal.
But Scorch is he's just horrifically a bully to Gary. Like it's just really unfortunate. Like there's a lot of really weird stuff about like really early in this movie because of how mean he is to Gary and about how much the rest of the world then agrees with him in it. The stuff about Kip looking up to him and things like that starts to get really creepy. Like it gets to a point where you're just like, you're worried he's gonna like single white female this and like kill Gary and take over his life at the end. Like
yeah, it's it's strange because the only reason that they are brothers is so the movie can happen. because that whole situation where he's like, you don't do anything, I'm the fucking hero, and he's like, then I quit, right? You think you can do this without me? I quit. If it were just some random dude quitting his job because I am fed up with not getting the credit that I am owed, he would not get involved with saving his brother, right? It'd be just one of those situations like, well, I proved my fucking point, huh? Hope they call me on Monday.
Yeah.
But when it's his brother, then that's the stakes. Those are the artificial stakes. Because you're not wrong. Like, the way that he treats him, if they were just coworkers, like, yeah, I would be fed up and I would quit too. Because let's see how quickly this whole fucking operation falls apart when the one guy who knows how to do everything isn't there anymore.
Yeah.
Which is when, like, the turn that Lena is evil and in cahoots, and that is a part of this movie. There are 3 things in this movie that make zero fucking sense to me.
Well, the problem with Lena as a character starts with the fact that all of the praise that we heaped on the mother character in this movie, Kira, I believe is her name, right?
Kira, yes.
Is completely absent with Lena. She is the most one-dimensional, hollow, tropey-esque, just like woman in charge secretly is just, and she gives it all up for a man that she falls in love with online. Like, it's horrific. Like, the only part I really appreciate is, even after all of this is revealed to be a quote unquote lie to her, I don't know how long she knew it was kind of a lie, because she still turns around and chooses to be evil. She doesn't suddenly choose to be good because the guy broke up with her. And it, like, well, at least you stuck to your convictions on that one. I have to give you at least that. And because of that, I can't tell you how long she maybe knew it was always a thing, because it turns out she's just evil anyway. So
yeah, I think she just wants power. And in a lot of ways, they throw around the fact that he's using her. Like, you're using this and all this. It would be a real nice moment if at that moment where, like, she realizes that he has been fake and
she's been working with the evil general the whole time. I don't know if we've made that clear.
We haven't made that clear. Yeah.
So the reveal is, by the end of the movie, is that the Queen of Bob, right?
She's not the queen. She's just the administrative head at Bassa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, she's been working with the evil general on Earth to send him power supplies in order to take over the universe. And they're going to take over the universe together. But of course, we know the whole time that the evil general is going to betray her, because he makes that very clear the very first time that they talk to each other. But like, she doesn't see it because she's got goo eyes. And it just sucks, because like, we then have to watch the rest of this movie, watch him play that off and watch her just keep going for it. But like I said, then you get that moment at the end where suddenly she finds out that he's been fucking around, and she still chooses evil. And so maybe she did know the whole time and she just didn't care.
Yeah, it'd be nice if, like, she had a speech where, like, of course I knew he was using me. I was using him. If we build this device on the dark planet and the dark planet starts destroying other sentient life form, like, planets, then they take the blame.
Right.
And Bob is fine.
Yeah.
Like, it is, like, if that were her part of her plan, if she were Kevin Spacey character, I don't remember his name from House of Cards, Frank Underhill, maybe?
Underwood.
Yeah, Underhill is Fletch. I've been on a real Fletch kick ever since it was announced that John Hamm is going to be playing Fletch.
Are they finally doing the Fletch?
Oh, yeah, it was a whole feature on CBS Sunday morning. No, it wasn't. It was Sunday Today. And my father's like,
Fletch is actually a phenomenal pull.
I think it's going to be wonderful. John Hamm has the comedy chops to do the comedy part of Fletch. And then also, he's John Hamm, so he brings, I mean, at the end of the day, as much as like Chevy Chase's Fletch is this goofy motherfucker, he's a good journalist.
Yeah.
And that is not what you see in the movie. Right. You see that in the books, and I'm very excited to hear that John Hamm is playing the role. Sorry for this little detour, but it is something that has really got into my head as somebody who, I mean, Fletch is always sort of back there. If you listen to our Adam Sandler Cinematic Universe, where I'm like, yeah, he quotes Fletch and is like, isn't that the joke? And I'm like, is it the joke? The other comedian didn't get it. Sorry. But yeah, back to the movie and whatever we were talking about. No, if she was given the motivation that, like, of course he's using me, I'm using him. He's a primitive from the dark planet. I'll let him think he's in charge until I get there, and he's done all this work collecting all of the smartest brains in the galaxy, building the planetary destruction laser. And then if that's where if the shots were coming from Planet Bob, like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't become a ruler of the universe.
So
but she doesn't
exactly,
get that.
What exactly do the other aliens bring to the table? Because you've now presented another issue I have. We're supposed to believe that he's collecting the brightest minds in order to work on his machine.
Mm-hmm.
And I assume that they all went through that brain testing phase where he figures out if they're a genius just by sticking a fucking atom bomb on their head. I couldn't figure out what the hell that was supposed to be, but
it looks like the upgraded version of Louis Tully's helmet from Ghostbusters.
But there's that moment, right? What are they don't seem to be capable of much. And I mean, like, the biggest one for me that I question the entire time is Doc, because the running gag is that Doc is a trained radiotherapist, right?
He's Fraser Crane. He's Fraser Crane from space.
And so, like, what is going on there? See, if they had leaned into the Fraser Crane stuff, like, it had been Kelsey Grammer playing him, and, like, that was where they went, I almost feel like that would have filled in the blanks for me. Yeah. But, like, that wasn't what we got. We got,
Yeah, I don't know.
He's played almost like a shock jock DJ in some moments. It's really weird. Like, he almost feels like he's more of a Jerry Springer than he is like a Fraser Crane, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, the way that they were talking about him, that he is a licensed radiotherapist, all I could think was Fraser Crane, and this fact that, like, he's not the smartest guy. What Doc brings to the table is he is management through and through, because he mediates, like, the very clear electrical engineering intelligence that Thurman has on display.
Yeah.
And I don't really know what Io brings to the table, but
I like her, but
I like her too. But
why she was allowed to not be frozen or whatever they do.
Well, I believe that all the frozen people had use as well. It might. So
you mean there's like a third option that is like serve them up for dinner? Well, wait,
no.
We see that in this movie. Actually,
yeah, we
saw exactly that.
We do see that exactly in this movie. I don't.
What is the deal with the mashed potato man and the fact that, like, I thought, oh, okay, so, like, maybe he's just always like potato, and, like, so he kind of scoots his consciousness out of the way for you to scoop some of the, like, leftover of him. But then there's a moment where
you're talking
gets
with your
taken.
mouth full. Yeah.
But what is happening?
The problem with the mashed potato man, and there's a name for his race, but I don't know it, is he exists in the 3 minutes of comedy portion of this movie.
So it's allowed to be absurd and doesn't have to have an
just absurd for no reason. And that's actually one of your triple threat moments. That's in your 10-minute food fight scene. Yeah. That is like, kids fucking love this shit. And it doesn't really move the plot along, but it entertains any children who are in the audience. That's that whole sequence.
I once heard some armchair film critic, much like us, question the whole food fight like trope. Like, has anybody ever been in a food fight here? And nobody was ever. And they said, I don't think food fights are real. And ever since that, I kind of have never been able to not think about that. Like, I was never in one. I've never, like food fights, like, the idea of the food fight is so, like, prevalent in, like, storytelling for kids. And, like, I don't think I've ever witnessed one. And I think if I did, I wouldn't want to be in it. I would want to get under the table. I would want to get out of the room as fast as I could. I would have no interest in fighting with food.
So again, Devin Decker is here to represent the best and the worst of us, have been in a food fight. And what I can say is the reason why food fights are so prevalent in entertainment, specifically geared towards children, is as a deterrent. It is the weirdest thing where if we put it
somebody could get hurt.
Yeah, somebody could get
a tray of food across the
like
table.
We see it and we're like, oh my God, this is awful. Like, as a kid, we're like, oh, we enjoy it, but then we think about it and we're like, oh, that was funny on TV, but that would suck if I were in the thick of that. If I were, like, dodging mashed potatoes and, like, there's silverware, like, it's a scary moment in those situations. But as somebody who has thrown a handful of mashed potatoes and started a food fight at my high school because just fuck it, right? They were called cafeteria productions for a reason. My principal should have never said, Devin, I'm tired of your cafeteria productions, because for a long time the cafeteria was my stage, Siegen. I'm very proud of it. but it is one of those situations where I'm like, man, you never see a food fight in real life. Like, what would happen? And I just did it. And it started a food fight.
Jesus.
And nobody got in trouble. Like, well, everybody kind of got in trouble.
Right.
But
that's the problem.
Yeah.
It's like it's one of those situations where
it's mad. It's the mad theory. Yeah.
Yeah, you're all gonna have to suffer for this now.
Mutually assured detention.
I spent the entire freaking time trying to get out of the room, and now I'm stuck in this. That sucks.
Yeah.
No.
And what it is, and really it's just like a big talk about this, and you guys are going to have to clean it up. And really, like, the cleanup is not the big thing. You got to, like, clean up the stuff in front of you. It was one of the weirdest experiences in my life. But as somebody who has been in a food fight, started said food fight, because we were just, like, bored at our table one day, it's one of those situations where, oh man, all of those things in movies, every time I see it in a movie, it's like, that is meant as a deterrent. That is meant totally for kids to see it and be like, oh, I wouldn't actually want to be a part of that. Like, it's funny as entertainment, but it's not fun in real life. It is kind of fun in real life, I will say that. The conversation of, like, being dressed down by the principal afterwards, that part was a lot less fun than the part where we were just throwing food at each other. Like a bacchanal and just our primal instincts coming forward. Crazy. And it's weird to think that, like, that one, nothing, but then I'm like, oh man, this is like a stage. I could do whatever I want in the cafeteria. I wonder where the
line is for me though, like, right? Because, like, I'm down with a pie in the face. Like, I've done that sort of stuff, especially for, like, charity and things like that. Or, like, I'll even do like playful, like, when we're in the kitchen cooking, like, you know, I'll throw, like, cheese or something at somebody. I'm real funny like that with the family. But, like, you know, like,
I'm kind of the clown of the group.
Like, if we're making whipped cream, like, if we're making whipped cream, right? We do also do that. But what I mean is, if we're making sundaes and we have whipped cream, like, I'll spray whipped cream on somebody's face to be funny. Like, that's like, so I don't know where the line is though, where it becomes like, I can't be here anymore. It's
a population thing. It is because
a numbers game. Yeah,
it's a numbers game. Because right now, like, you're cooking dinner, like, say there's 4 people and you're making sundaes, right? The chance for there to be, like, actual destruction or carnage from what you're doing in that kitchen with 3 other people is very minimal. If you're in a cafeteria, like, I cannot stress to you how big the cafeteria was at Coventry High School.
Yeah.
And my table was in the center, and I realized, oh, if I throw towards the, like, kids in the leather jackets near the snack bar where you can get fries and pizza, and I throw towards the jocks who are, like, close to the gym, I bet I can make this happen. Like, I bet that everybody will get involved. And it's just like, let's do it. 1, 2, 3. And we just did it. Me and other people at the table, who I will not incriminate in this, because we never got in trouble for it as the people who started it, but we totally started that food fight. And then, like, it only got stopped, like, Devin, you can't do this stuff anymore, when I bought sock 'em boppers. Remember sock 'em boppers?
Yes.
They're more fun than a pillow fight. There had been a fight in the cafeteria, like a real fight in the cafeteria, like one of the kids on the ground bleeding out. And I'm like, man, I get a lot of praise for the little stunts I do in the cafeteria, but I'm not getting fight numbers in my cafeteria stuff. We need to have a fight in the cafeteria. And I, like, actually promoted it, like, there's going to be a boxing match in the cafeteria, 3rd lunch this day. Here are the fighters. Like, I don't know if bets were taken. I didn't do any, but let's face it, there were some bookkeepers in my high school. And we came in robes with sock and boppers on, did a whole dumb show trying to get the robes off while we had the sock and boppers on, because they're giant. And then we had a full-on, like, boxing match with sock and boppers that the principal came in to break up, and I whacked him in the face. And that was, like, the moment where, like, you need to go, and I don't want any more. I don't want any more of these. You found the line for me. And that was just 2 people, but I punched an administrator in the face.
With a sock and bopper.
With a sock and bopper, that's true, but it doesn't change the fact that, like, on some level, that's still assault, Sejin. And then years later, when he went from like assistant administrative position to the principal of the whole school, and I was trying to put together a production company, which I had thought, like, oh, let's call it Cafeteria Productions. That'll be fun. And I booked an appointment with him to record him saying, I'm sick and tired of these Cafeteria Productions. You know, like if it were ever to be an end title card, that's what would play. It'd be the sit ubu sit of my entire empire.
Yeah.
The guy who came with me, like as my audio engineer, right? Because it was a 2-man job. He said, you know, you were really great. I'd like to print out a copy of your permanent record. Your permanent record is real. That is what we're revealing in this Escape from Planet Earth. That's the real surprise of the surprise report. Also, happy birthday, Will. Let's say happy birthday to Will one more time.
Happy birthday, Will.
Which, the Scrubs episode. We'll give that information at the end. Sorry. Woo! I'm all over. I'm so excited. You've energized me with this talk of, do food fights really happen? Because they do. And they're terrifying and they're fun all at once, but they happen in media to deter you from them. And I said to the principal, I'm like, oh, if we're printing out permanent records, could I get a copy of mine? And he's like, I really don't want to waste the 50 pages. And like, he was probably being hyperbolic, but then he said, I will show you on the screen. And there was a lot of scrolling. So back to Escape from Planet Earth. That mashed potato monster man, he only exists because it is funny in the moment.
Yeah, because it really, like, it just doesn't. It's really wild. Yeah, so they're holding aliens hostage to make them work on a mysterious machine, and lo and behold, it's a giant weapon. The end. Like, that's the movie.
So what I honestly think, right, if we're going to apply some logic to the whole thing, I think all of the aliens that are on ice are either there to be representative of like people who had come before, and either they worked on the machine and then their usefulness ran out, right? Like it came down to the time of like, when do I get to go home? And then like, oh yeah, we're going to send you home. You've done a lot of good work. And they put him on the cold freeze. Or it's somebody like Scorch who they just put aside. Threat, right? Yeah. Who's like, once they become a threat, they put them on ice. Yeah. Because what I honestly think Io and Doc represent are a weird sort of social microcosm for Thurman, because Thurman is the one in that group who can really do the work. And what is really indicative of that is the fact that when Gary is placed into a cell, it is the only cell that is shared by two people. So I believe that cell is designated for the genius. And then it seems like Thurman kind of has a bit of a thing for Io, and Doc is there to be like, to keep Io's anger in check, but also to keep Thurman motivated. So he's like a mediator to keep them on task. It really is sort of like this group project. And then Scorch comes in to kind of just be like motivation and also kind of just meat that can do heavy lifting. And it's just this weird sort of synergy of those four people.
It's a poor plan, as borne out by the rest of this movie, right? Where they all team up against him and
well, I mean, the problem is you don't put two geniuses in there, right? Or you certainly don't put, like, honestly, if you got captured and then I got captured, and it was obvious that Sejin and Devin have some sort of history, you have to eliminate one of us.
Yeah, you have to.
Because we already synergize well together. And if you already have two parties that can work together, even if it's like hot and cold, the way that Scorch and Gary's relationship actually is, it's one of those situations where like, yeah, but right now our backs are up against the fire. We're going to put aside our fucking differences to get out of here.
Dumb mistakes made by dumb villains is definitely a thing that happens in this movie too. Yeah, there's just a lot of that sort of silly stuff going on. So like, I very much adore the movie. I think that it is definitely a worth a watch movie. But at the same time, we have seen better movies of this sense, as you pointed out. You know, I've spoken pretty openly on the show about my love of Onward, and then like on top of that, like the it doesn't move the needle in a way. It's funny that this is the second time in a row that we're talking about this, but like it doesn't really move the needle in any important way for animation. It's not the first of a big animation house like Shrek was. It's not. It
is
not
Rainmaker's first feature released theatrical film.
Who is Rainmaker?
Rainmaker is the animation house that does the
animation.
I
understand.
I understand
that. I mean, who are they outside of this?
I don't know. I'm just saying it doesn't move.
Yeah, exactly.
While it doesn't move the needle, anything like that, it doesn't take away the fact that there is, to somebody, an historical significance to this, because Rainmaker was an animation studio, and this is their first time to do a feature-length animated film. Yes, and that means something to them. It doesn't mean anything to anybody else, and it certainly doesn't mean anything 9 years later.
Just like all movies that we pull apart and critique mean something to somebody, especially probably somebody that worked on them. Right. But like to the point of, is this movie worth going back to now as somebody who has no relation to the film? No, I don't know if I would necessarily say that, other than just it's a fun watch.
I think it's a surprising watch, and I think that's why I would recommend this film over pretty much every other film that we've watched. If I were talking to like animation people, like people who love animation, I would tell them, check out Sinbad Beyond the Veil of Mist, because oh my god, like to see where we were freaking 22 years ago and where we are now, it's huge. That leap is huge. I would almost believe that there are aliens putting together the technology in Area 51.
Yeah. I mean, for me, this movie is like, if I had kids and they had to be watching something, I'd rather they'd be watching this than some other shit. Really, like I get very grumpy old man about it. Like there's definitely worse movies out there that families could be watching with their children for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Dudley Do-Right, as great as all of the acting is in that, I would never be like, oh, we need to watch Dudley Do-Right.
We got to sit the family down and we need to take this in together as a group.
It's not that. This movie, this could totally be a Saturday morning movie for the whole family. That like it'd be a fun way to start the day, and then we go off and we do our separate things.
Yeah, there is a context for this film that it works perfectly for, and that's not always the case with the movies that we watch.
And it's really, I mean, overall, I was impressed with the depth that was on display, even when you consider the fact that it's only 2/5 of the film that represents that depth of plot and like significance. But then there are questions like, why are those babies alone in a fucking spaceship, Sejin?
I mean, there's a lot of those kinds of moments, because like you come back to that race of aliens that they're being rescued from in the climax of the movie, and it is only there just to be like referential to itself. It would have been so much better if there was some connection to that, right? Like if they had said early on something's wrong, the mother seems to be missing or something. You know what I mean? Like and then all of a sudden, boom! Later in the movie, you see a bigger one of them, and like there it is. It's just like, oh, like there's none of that. That's what I mean when I say the dialogue really falters. It's just so of the moment and simplistic that it doesn't really do itself any favors to kind of like move you along in the movie.
Yeah. I mean, it's not the Nut Job. I think that the Nut Job does a really good job with its script, but is good. And what this movie does do for me, as we talk about actors coming in and taking away like roles from dedicated voice actors, is that Brendan Fraser, for a lot of his career, has existed in the voice acting space.
Sure.
And this kind of just cemented that for me.
Yeah, and you can have those kinds of arguments up and down about the ways in which like actors are acting in these spaces. It is not a solid wall between voice actors and actors for sure, and it shouldn't be one. But the question becomes, when is it appropriate to stick with talent over name? And that becomes really kind of problematic in a lot of animation in the 2000s, especially 2010s. There's a lot of stuff you can point to where it's just like, man, this is great, but I don't quite understand why they got this actor who's never done voice work before, clearly doesn't know what they're doing with voice work. Like, why are they here?
Yeah, and I don't feel like that's on display at all in this movie. Everybody is. And do you want to know the one voice actor I couldn't recognize the whole movie? Do you want to take a guess?
It was Rob Corddry. Like, it legitimately was Rob Corddry. I was naming everybody else, but couldn't figure that out. But was it the kid? Or
no,
was it?
It was Lena. I didn't know it was Jessica Alba. And again, like a big part of that is the fact that she's just kind of there.
Yes.
She doesn't have like big moments or anything like that. So there's not one of those times where like, oh, it hit my ear and there's Dark Angel. So yeah. So of the movies that we have celebrated this Brendan Fraser History Month, I think that the top one that I would recommend is Brain Candy, because it feels like it could be released today. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but he's great. His appearance in Brain Candy is fantastic. And it's wonderful. And still go watch the New Kids in the Hall. I wish that I had the numbers. We are recording a little bit early this episode, just in case it comes back and bites us in the ass. It's the Thursday before we release that we're recording this episode. So just so you know where we are, like that's why we didn't talk about big substantial thing that might have happened in the last 4 days. And I'm sure we will cover it on our June 1st episode if we deem it necessary. But
take your bets.
Take your bets. What did we miss that happened over Memorial Day weekend?
1-1 that Ted Cruz says something stupid in the next 24 hours. Let's go with that.
I bet Ted Cruz is saying something stupid while we're recording this, Sejan. Let's just.
Fuck. We're recording a little early for sure.
Yeah, so we are recording early so that we get to celebrate the weekend with each other. But just as a heads up with where we are. But yeah, there's a reason why I brought that up, and it has completely gone out of my mind.
Lay the movies out again for us. So Brain Candy.
Oh, and so we don't know if Kids in the Hall, because the announcement was going to be this coming weekend if they got that 7th season or not with Amazon Prime. If their big push last weekend convinced them that they're worth giving another season to. So I'm gonna say that they got that season. I mean, when my Twitter is nothing but Kids in the Hall quotes, it feels pretty good, because my Twitter is not just comedy.
They should be allowed to work until they all hate each other again.
They should be allowed to work until Paul Bellini needs to bury them in the ground again. So laying out the movies that we watched again for Brendan Fraser History Month, we started with Dudley Do-Right, and then we went to Sinbad Beyond the Veil of the Mists.
Yep.
Then we went to Kids in the Hall, Brain Candy. Last week was Furry Vengeance, and then this episode the focus has been on Escape from Planet Earth.
Yeah, well, since you gave Brain Candy its due, I'm going to delightfully take it out of the running for me because of the fact that it just not a Brendan Fraser movie. So, of the movies that I would recommend that we watch this month, I actually think of all of the movies I'm going to land on, it's going to be Sinbad. Like, prepare yourselves, strap in. This is a seated recommendation. This is a dangerous banger if there ever was one. Like, I don't know how you're gonna feel about this, but it's a fucking weird ride, and I suggest you take it. Out of the 4 movies that we are looking at this month that are Brendan Fraser focused films, I wouldn't bother with Furry Vengeance. This one I would give a go if it shows up on TV, or if you got some kids that are looking for something to watch, rent it for it, like go for it. And
as long as you're not in Australia, it's on Netflix apparently. So
yeah, but yeah, I think the one I would actually point to would be Sinbad.
Yeah, it's that's it. I mean, Brain Candy, I think is that. I think I would put this one next just because it is pretty, like, easily digestible, and it is so representative of how far we had come from like 2002 watching Spider-Man, which unfortunately gets mixed up into the miasma of Celebration this month to this movie, like 11 years later. There are some pretty well-written female characters. There are also some just one-note prop female characters. So 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, opposites attract. But then I think Furry Vengeance would be the bottom of the barrel, unfortunately. As much as, like, Brendan is giving his all, the fact that he himself is ashamed of that work, I want to respect his wishes there. But just for frickin' Dr. Octopus, Alfred Molina, as Snidely Whiplash, Dudley Do-Right is worth a watch, a single watch.
I would watch Dudley Do-Right on a plane.
I would watch Dudley Do-Right on the bus on my way home from work.
I would not watch it with a fox, but I would watch it once again if I was on a plane.
Did you like how I said Puerto Rico? I speak a little Spanish. It's like that movie. Dudley Do-Right has been in the quote rotation. because there's some moments in it that are just choice. But it does come after, for me, Brain Candy, Escape from Planet Earth, and then Sinbad in terms of what I would recommend. But celebrate them all. I mean, that's what May is about. It is about going back and celebrating the vast and varied career that Brendan Fraser has put on the table. So that's it. I think that's all the Brendan Fraser stuff. Is there anything else you want to talk about, Sejan, before we wrap this one up, or do you want
to? We're running a bit long.
Yeah. Do you want to save it for June? I mean, like, there's so much that I want to address in June.
Yeah, we're gonna that's good. We're gonna do a getting back on the ball. Like, Brendan Fraser month has been fun to celebrate, but just like coming out of Christmas and realizing you need a break from Christmas, I think that'll be good. We will look back on the things we missed while we were away, and we'll do some wrap up there.
Yeah. So look forward to our first episode in June, dropping, I think, the 6th, the 6th. It should be a June 6th episode. 6/6,
Zach
baby.
A birthday present. Shit.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's really easy to remember Will and Zach's birthdays because they're 7 days apart from each other. Kind of like yours and Dale's.
Yeah, you just kind of surround yourself with weird
I have made
people.
Myself easy birthday people. It's not you and Dale. It's you and my mother are 7 days apart.
I mean, I'll take it.
Yeah, right. I mean, they're both good, right? It's just your birthday is later than I initially gave credit for. I don't know what I'm doing.
Honestly,
here.
No offense, Dale, but I think your mom would be a better party.
Yeah, if you had to share parties, I mean, I think it'd be fun to see you at a Pokemon party with like the Pikachu.
Let's be honest, it would be a
Piñata?
Pokemon Go party. And
yeah.
I would be the only one that didn't have it downloaded yet. I'd need everybody to show me how to use the fucking spray bottle. What do you do with this?
What? Wait, I have to.
Where's the lure?
I needed to download
it. Is that even in the game anymore?
Yeah, no. My mother would be like, you guys would have a Halloween themed party, and it'd be lots of fun. We'd go trick or treating on my mother's birthday in November, and like, you're going to give us candy.
Scary. Yeah.
All right.
Man. But yeah, we'll see you in June then.
Yeah, we will see you in June for that. Giving a shout out to Will for everything that he has done for us this month. Thank you so much, Will. Again, happy birthday. If you want to celebrate Will's birthday, then you want to check out season 3, episode 14 of Scrubs, My Screw Up, which is Brendan Fraser's last appearance in Scrubs. Spoilers, as he pointed out. And if you do choose to celebrate Will's birthday by watching that episode, tell him what you thought about it. He's on Twitter at Fournier_09.
And if you want to make sure that that Devin stays up to date on all the latest news that we missed this month, just hit him with all of your May news. You can find him at Devin D. Decker.
I'm excited to take your May news in. And if you would like to share with Sejan who else shares May 30th as a birthday, he would love to hear all about it at Siege versus the World. I'm still mad at you about all those birthdays that you dropped that were the day we were recording, but the whole time I was like, I mean, it's the reason why we had the birthday thing. I can't believe how long it went before we shared a movie.
Yeah.
And that's it, right? So from your co-grand poobahs of the Brendan Fraser quiz of Brendan Fraser, thank you so much for celebrating Brendan Fraser History Month with us, this 2022 Brendan Fraser History Month, and we will see you next time. Have a good one, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you for listening to the Say Report with your host Devin Decker and Sejan Serwick. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report, and you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.